Warrior Priest. So what we have here is a healer hard specialization called the Silver Hammer. We have a defensive support Anvil and Torch, and we have a DPS hard specialization Cleansing Flame. So Shield of Faith. Righteous Fury has a maximum of 250. Shield of Faith absorbs up to 6% ranged power. Should there be ranged attack power? And 80 damage over 5 seconds. When augmented, it will absorb 75% more and apply 1 stack of enhanced dodge. Oh, restoration power. Sorry. Thank you. Restoration power. Okay. So Shield of Faith absorbs up to 6% restoration power. So the higher that is, the more absorb you get. So you have a passive shield. Judgment. Basic attack deals 3% spell attack power, 34 spiritual damage to target enemy. You generate 22 action points. Twin-tailed blow, 50 action points instant. Deal 11 melee attack power, 156 spiritual damage to target enemy. Your defensive target will be healed for 150 of the damage dealt, 150% of the damage dealt, and apply Shields of Faith to group mates within 75 feet. Generates 30 Righteous Fury. What? What? You heal the defense at 150%. That is pretty standard from what I remember for the Warrior Priest that I played. Of the damage you deal, and applies a shield as well. Shield of Faith, which is this, which absorbs 6% of your restoration power. Now, the thing is, because, you know, as I read this, because I haven't read this before, we're doing this together, I'm also kind of thinking a little bit of the build and the gameplay in my head, right? But this is the trick here. Because as I read this, I got excited, but I shouldn't be. Why? Because Judgment using spell... Defensive target gets the heal, group mates only get the shield. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but I shouldn't be getting very excited because Judgment needs spell attack power, right? Twin-tail blow needs melee attack power, right? So these are two different stats here. So I'm not sure. I mean, if you go on spell attack power to deal damage on Judgment, but if you do, then you don't have melee attack power enough to, you know, have that 150% be very effective. So probably we're going to have to make some choices there on the gear and the stats, you know, choose some skills there. Anyways, this is too early to consider something about build, but I'm just kind of getting it on my head. So when the time comes, I'll have to pay more attention to these tooltips. And I suggest if you go on the builder and you look at it, you also pay attention to the tooltips because they're very specific. Judgment Hammer does not care about judgment damage. Oh, Silver Hammer. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, though, because some skills are like that. Like, you have, in some of them, you know, melee power, spell power. Some of them have range power. It's a mix of different stats in there. So, I think we should pay attention to it while we, you know, kind of like trying to make some builds before game comes out. Divine Light costs 60 Righteous Fury. Target ally gains 1 stack of Purity and has 5-second Blessing that absorbs up to 27% restoration power and 242 damage. So Purity against Chaos and Blessing Absorbance, not healing, Absorbance. Okay. Prayer of Devotion, 30 Righteous Fury, 150 range. Target group mate gains 1 stack of Purity. Shield of Faith, an enchantment for 60 seconds that heals the target for 6% restoration power and 85 each time they use an ability. So, 60 seconds enchantment. So, they gain 1 stack of Purity to fight Chaos. They get Shield of Faith with, according to my restoration power, it absorbs damage, and then they heal 6% whenever they use an ability. Okay, cool. Wrath, 36 action points, deals 21% melee attack power, 280 impact damage to target enemy, generates 25 Righteous Fury, augmenting deals 25% more damage. Vow, is that a vow? A vow of silence. Applies a silence and you never do target. Okay, that's your typical silence. Divine Assault, 3-second channel, cost 80 Righteous Fury. It deals 20% melee attack power and 275 spiritual damage to target enemy every second. Your defensive target will be healed for 150% of the damage you dealt if they were within 75 feet. So why 75 feet? No, why not 100? But okay, that's a... Don't answer that, Ramasee. Don't answer that. I'm just thinking. Vigilance, you're detoned. You receive 50% less damage, but your outgoing damage is also reduced by 90%. Emperor's Ward, your basic attack, give all your group mates with 100 feet that have this tactic 300 absorb for 3 seconds. Sigmar favored. Whenever you receive a direct heal, you'll also be healed for 128%. So that's the augment of healing. Charge Fury, any ability that generates Righteous Fury will generate 10 more. And Fuel Fury, whenever you are hit by an ability, you will gain 10 Righteous Fury. That's the tactics for the Warrior Priest there, the ones you start with. Silver Hammer uses 100 hammers and shields. Return to life, morale 1. That is your resurrection. You bring somebody back to life for 2,000 health and no other resources. Cannot be used on corpses with Folkhorn. Sorry for my pronunciation on some of those things. I find them very difficult. Focus Mind, 50-second buff, 50% faster casting times, and you have 100% pushback immunity. Divine Protection, morale 3. All group mates within 100 feet gain a buff for 50 seconds. They'll absorb 200% of your restoration power and 1,500 damage over the duration of those 50 seconds. Alter Fate, morale 4, removes all afflictions and cripples from each groupmate within 100 feet. Also applies return to life to each dead groupmate with 100 feet. I honestly want to see that in action. Like, I don't know, just res an entire fucking group. I've rarely seen it on live, on Return of Reckoning, anywhere else. I've rarely seen this actually happening. Yeah, Focus Mine always was a morale, yes. It's a morale. It's a morale. It's 3 morals you get. Return life. So the resurrection spell is a morale. Focus Mine, this is the 3 morals you get. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the first 2 lines are the things you start with. That's why they all have 1 point in it. That's how you start on your build. Improved Twin Tail Blow. Twin Tail Blow will deal 10% additional damage. It's a passive, so you can go up to 20. Then you have stats here. Stronger Faith, another passive. Shields of Faith now absorb 20% more. So if you put 3 points, it goes to 60% more. I am liking this healer already. You know why? Because I played a little bit of Final Fantasy 14 online, Final Fantasy Online, and I was looking at the healers, and one of the healers, it almost never heals, only has absorb, shield, things like that. So it's keeping you alive by shielding you. It can heal you. It has like 1 hot. Everything else is shield and barriers and, repel enemies and shit like that. So that I'm watching here so far, and we have it with this. I've just seen the stuff you get at the start. I'm loving it because I'm really like to have variety on healers. And I'm not talking about, because like Rune Priest, I don't know, Archmage, Zero, they're kind of the same. You just heal, I have a shield here, a shield there. But this is I like it. I like this. So up to 60% absorbed there. Willpower. Okay, let's put some more points for the hell of it. Just go to the next line. Fleet-footed, you can get movement speed, but you lose mass. All right, you get in position a little bit faster, although most of the spells should be, the range you have should be sufficient. Strength, Intelligence, Healing Hand, 25 Righteous Fury, applies an enchantment to target ally that heals for 6% restoration power and 65 every 3 seconds for 15 seconds. Okay, that's the hot. So if we get that and move a bit further down, we can also unlock a tactic called Lay on Hands. The range of Healing Hand is reduced to 75 feet, but now it heals for 40% more, so close range. Leading the Prayer, morale 1, applies Shield of Faith with the augmented modifier to all group mates within 100 feet. 1 second, if it's augmented... I've seen it somewhere. What What does it do when it's augmented? Oh, when augmented, it will absorb 75% more and apply 1 stack of enchanted dodge. Okay, so increase 75%. So yeah, I like that morale one. Exalted defenses, career tactic. Whenever you block or dodge, you will gain 1 stack of enchanted willpower. Sanctity, career tactic again. Prayers now apply to all group mates within 150 feet when cast, but now only lasts 15 seconds. Prayer of devotion. Okay, 60. So the last 60 seconds to apply to everybody is 15 seconds. Okay. Improve vigilance. You can go that up to 3 ranks. So when you detaunt somebody, your outgoing damage is reduced only by 45, not 90. More stats here. Radiance. Skill 50 action points. Deal 90% melee attack power and 250 impact damage to target enemy. Your defensive target gains 1 stack of enhanced block if they are within 75 feet. Generates 30 righteous fury. That's a good skill. Hammer time, morale 2. Gain 250 righteous fury. I suppose that's nice to refill instantly if you need to. Amberogen greed. Amberogen greed tactic. Twin tail blow and radiance now have 32-foot range. Oh, from 8 feet to 32. Okay. Spirit of the Heldenhammer. No cost spell, 75 feet, instant cast, 10-second cooldown. No cost spell, instant, 10 seconds cooldown. That's it. Okay. Applies a buff to target ally that heals them for 28% of your wounds. Plus 420 every second for 5 seconds. Applies a debuff to you that deals 28% of your wounds and 420 true damage every second and reduces your healing received by 100% for 5 seconds. So basically, we get a debuff that damages us every second. We lose healing received by 100% for 5 seconds. And we heal somebody for the same amount. Alright, so basically we trade our health in the form of percentage wounds and thing to heal somebody equal. So we exchange our HP and we give them to them. Okay. That also will lead us to a tactic called Moved by the Spirit. Spirit of the Heldenhammer now has 30 seconds cooldown, but you and the target will gain 30% movement speed for 5 seconds. So this one has no cost, so you can just do it on the go. 10-second cooldown, you do that. Yeah. Yeah, you can mitigate true damage. Yeah. There, you just put it in better words, thank you. You just transfer your health to an ally. Improves block, passive. Your chance to block is increased by 3%, and you can take that all the way to 15%. Very nice. Improved life taps. Twin tail blow and divine assault now heal your defensive target for an additional 10% of the damage dealt, and you can put 2 points on that to make that 25%. Preserving the light tactic. Divine light now has 15-second duration, and Sealed of Faith now has a 7-second duration. I think I like that one. What else? Righteous Wrath, passive. Wrath will now generate 3 more Righteous Fury, and if you max it out, it's 10 Righteous Fury. Circle of Friends, passive. Whenever you spend Righteous Fury, up to 9 allies within 30 feet of you gain 4% restoration power plus 20 health. Oh, that's a nice little passive. So, I mean, you use Righteous Fury anyways, but you get a passive thingy. Emperor's Champion, it's the buff of 20 seconds that give you 250 ballistics, 250 intelligence, and 250 strength. It's a morale 3. The buff lasts 20 seconds. Loved by all, you always have immovable. Your mass is decreased by 2. Typical. Leading the charts, Divine Assault, Radiance, Word of Damnation will apply their effects to you in addition to your defensive target. Nice little tactic. Divine Intervention, passive. Whenever you are affected by knockdown, disarm, silence, or rooted effects, you will gain 8% damage reduction for 3 seconds. So if you put, let's put some more points here to unlock this. Oh, I've run out of points. Anyways, let me just take some points out here. So if we max it out, we get 32% damage reduction for 3 seconds when we're knocked down and all that. Repel knocks the enemy away and applies removal. You get a punt as a healer. Nice. Avatar of Sigmar, morale 4, cleanses all chaos corruption from up to 96 allies and 96 enemies with 30 feet of you. You gain a buff for 30 seconds. For the duration, you generate 10 righteous fury per second. Your outgoing damage is increased by 75%. Your healing done is increased by 75%. Your regeneration hit points per 4 seconds is increased by 1,000. At the end of the duration, you die and gain full cord. Oh, I love that morale. So basically, all right, this morale for what it does. So you cleanse your allies from all corruption from chaos. So if you had to be fighting chaos or they were there, you cleanse the negative debuffs from the chaos guys. It also gives them buffs, because corruption works like buffs and debuffs at the same time. So you cleanse all the buffs and debuffs from that. You cleanse all the debuffs from yourself. You generate a lot of righteous fury, right? You increase your damage by 75, your healing by 75, your regeneration by 1,000. So you're pretty much, let's say, almost God mode, right? 30 seconds. And then you die. There's no one can do anything about it. And you get full cord, which means you cannot be resurrected. This is what Return to Life says, that you cannot use on corpses of Falcon. You can be resurrected. But you have to release, basically go to war camp and you come back. But it's 30 seconds God mode. Because with 1,000 HP per 4 seconds, increased damage, increased healing as a healer, and you cleanse all corruption, because there's definitely going to be some chaos dudes around, you know that. I think there is a green skin that gets that as well, isn't it? I think was it the Chopper or the Black Work that gets a similar thing? Yeah, I think it's the Black Work. Yeah, 30 seconds you gain, 10 fightiness per second, 100 outgoing damage, 50% damage reduction, 1,000 HP for. At the end you die and you gain Falcon. I remember that, yeah. So, yeah, for the healer, it looks amazing. I like it. All right, move on a little bit. Finish this heart specialization. Well, it's God mode, Malmar, so, you know, it's I think you use that, you say, either I do this and we win, or I do this and I die because we're all going to die. It's like a Hail Mary, Warband is in shambles, like, let's do this. 30 seconds to win this or we're all dead. I think that's where that comes in. You don't just use it, you know. Anyways, Sigmar Shield, 7-second cooldown, spell, no cost, instant cast. 100 Righteous Fury, applies a blessing to target ally for 7 seconds. Each time they're attacked, they will gain a Shield of Faith and 1 stack of a buff. Buff stacks up to 10 times, lasts 3 seconds, and heals the target for 5%, restoration power, and 25 per stack at the end of the duration. So 7-second cooldown. I mean, can you get 100 Righteous Fury in 7 seconds so you can spam this shit every 7 seconds? Every time they attack, they gain Shield of Faith and 1 stack of buff. Buff stacks up to 10 times, lasts 3 seconds. Seems powerful. I suppose that's nice for if you have AP, sure. Martyr's Blessing. This is the Zerg Basting ability of the Warrior Priest on the Silver Hammer specialization. It costs 100 Fury. It's 1 second cast time. Deals 13% of your spell attack power, 186 spiritual damage to up to 48 enemies within 30 feet in front of you. For each target hit that did not have cover, all groupmates within 150 feet gain a stack. The stack heals for 6% of your restoration power, plus 8 each at the end of their 3-second duration. Okay, massive, maybe. Oh, it's 150 AP? Oh, okay. I thought it might be a little bit weird because everything else was 150 AP. But Ramasee, just to say this, you know how I speak, you have to recheck a little bit the builder here. There's a couple of spelling mistakes, possibly some percentages missing left and right. If anybody on your team has a little bit of time to check it, there's more spelling mistakes than the usual I've seen on the other ones. I know you guys are in a hurry, but no biggie. You know, you still understand what it says. I'm just saying. So that's the healer. So now we're going to go on the second specialization, the defensive support called Anvil and Torch. So still the same mechanics, Shields of Faith. Judgment the same. Penance is different. Dispel one alignment from target ally and applies a Shield of Faith to them. Generate 10 Righteous Fury. I already like this one better. Divine Light, the same as before. Healing Hand, you get this a little bit sooner. It's down here, so we get it on the default one. Applies the enchantment to target ally, the healed 6% restoration power and 65 every 3 seconds for 15. Prayer of Immaculate Flash, 30 Righteous Fury, 150 feet range. Target groupmate gains 1 stack of Purity, Shield of Faith, and enchantment for 60 seconds. For the duration, whenever target uses an ability, they will gain 1 stack of Enhanced Piercing Resistance, Enchanted Impact Resistance, or Enhanced Impact Resistance, or Enhanced Inco Resistance. Sorry, I've been reading for 4 hours. So it's a defensive, nice buff, plus the shields. Vow of Silence is the silence. Prayer of Absorption. Target groupmate gains 1 stack of Purity, Shield of Faith, and Enchantment for 60 seconds. For the duration, whenever they use an ability, they will gain 1 stack of Enhanced Corporeal Resistance, Enhanced Elemental Resistance, or Enhanced Spiritual Resistance. So we have all the resistances here on 2 prayers. 1, 2. 30 Righteous Fury each. Shielding, Purity. Repent. Target enemy will deal 50% less damage to you 15 seconds. The effect is removed if you hit it. That's your D-taunt. Which is different from Vigilance, by the way. Just a reminder. Here you receive 50% less damage. Same as here. But it only lasts 7 seconds. And you deal 90% less damage. Here you deal as much damage as you want. But not on the same target. Also, Emperor's Ward is a bit different. You apply the shields to yourself, the absorb to yourself for 400 instead of 300. Antidote is not melee. Okay. But so far, its skills are kind of the same so far. I don't think I've missed something. Sigma Favorite, when you receive heal, that's the healing augment. And this is when you use any ability to generate Righteous Fury, now generates 10 more. Whenever you are hit by an ability, you generate Righteous Fury. Anvil and Torch equip 100 hammers and tomes. Morale 1, return to life. Focus Mind, Morale 2, Morale 3, Divine Protection. And Alter Fate, Morale 4. Same as in the Silver Hand. Hey, hi Agrim, how you doing, buddy? I'm good, just going through the classes. So here we have stats as usual. Divine Replenishment, passive. Generate 4 Righteous Fury every 3 seconds. You can buff that with 3 points all the way up to 12 Righteous Fury every 3 seconds, which is nice. Farsight, range is increased by 20% with a tactic. Castigation, passive. Judgment now generates 3 Righteous Fury. You can max that for 6 Righteous Fury. This is a 75 feet range spell that generates 22 action points. Now it generates Righteous Fury as well. More stats. Prayer of Righteousness. Cost 30 Righteous Fury. Target groupmates gains 1 stack of Purity and Shield of Faith. And an enchantment for 60 seconds that causes them to deal 10% spell attack power and 115 spiritual damage each time they deal direct damage. Nice. Leading the Prayer, that's the morale one that applies Shield of Faith with the augmented modifier to all groupmates with 100 feet. Sanctity, prayers now apply to all groupmates with 150 feet, but they only last 15 seconds. I don't know if I would have taken this one myself, but what do I know? I don't play yet. I'm waiting for the server. Wrath, 36 action points. You deal 21 melee attack power, 280 impact damage to target enemy. You generate 25 Righteous Fury. If it's augmented, it will deal 25% more damage. More stats. Beacon of Courage, passive. You generate 1 Righteous Fury whenever an ally with your shield faith is attacked by an enemy. Ooh, that is really good. More stats. Grace of Sigmar. You will now dispel 1 alignment for all group mates within 100 feet when you cast Penance. Penance? Penance. Penance. Dispel 1 alignment. Okay, that's an extra one. Okay. I'm good, Agrim. I'm good. Hammer Time. Morale 2, you get 250 Righteous Fury. Just a refill. Benediction, Carrier Tactic. Every 2 seconds, if you have more than 100 action points, convert 20 action points into 10 Righteous Fury. So this is an automatic conversion. So if I remember correctly, and I think I do, is you have a maximum of 300 action points. So if you're above 100, so you can convert quite a bit. Nice. I'll click it. Armor of Righteous. All group mates within 100 feet of you gain 1 stack of purity every 3 seconds. Oh, that is a nice passive if you have chaos units there. Just you don't have to actively do the purity thing. You're just nice. See, like, this is why I like this, because this class is very useful, because chaos spreads so much fucking corruption. Having a passive using a defensive support instead of a healer is also good, because it's passive. You can focus on other things, and the healer can focus on other things, and you can split things. At least in theory, because I always say this, that unless you play the game, you don't know how well or how bad things work. Because on paper, everything looks good, or bad. Because we had things that look great on paper and shit in gaming, and we had things that look bad on the paper and it was good on gaming. It happens. Lay on Hands. The range of healing hands is reduced 75 feet, but now it heals 40% more. Stronger Faith. Faith Shield now absorbs 20% more, and you can get it all the way to 100% more. Yep, it's not a mechanic. As far as I remember, yeah. They all have tanks for sure. I don't know. We'll check it in a minute. Let's just finish this. Prayer of Devotion. Target group gets 1 stack of Purity, Shield of Faith, and enchantment for 60 seconds. That heals. Oh no, we've seen that. So it's the same one. Preserving Light. Divine Light now has 15-second duration, and Shield of Faith has 7. Okay. As we've seen the stacks across, pretty much the same, because the gameplay is slightly different. Faith's Bastion. Shield of Faith will now provide 1 second cooldown reduction. You can get that all the way down to 3 seconds. Refreshing Radiance. Shield of Faith now grants the target 5 AP regen. Also very nice. Tats of the Divine, another passive. Whenever Divine Light expires without absorbing all of its damage, you will regenerate 13 Righteous Fury. Oh, Anvil and Torch is... I don't know, I mean, I like the healing we had here with all the shields, but this is very interesting as well. I'm actually surprised about this. So whenever you use an ability to remove a buff or debuff, you'll gain 15 adrenaline per second. Morale buff. Weight of Guilt. Career Tactics. Sigmar Comet applies a mark to the target. Mark reduces target's damage reduction by 15% for 10 seconds, so they take more damage. Sigmar's Comet. Off the global cooldown, 30 Righteous Fury. Applies a 5-second cripple to target enemy. At the end of the duration, you deal 25% spell attack power and 346 impact damage to target enemy and apply 2 stacks of purity to them. This ability has 2 charges and generates 1 charge every 8 seconds. If it's augmented, applies it to 2 other enemies within 20 feet of primary target. And that also opens up Pious Restoration. Passive. Sigmar's Comet will now restore 2% restoration power plus 60 health to allies that attack enemies affected by it. Avatar of Sigmar, same one as here. Supplication, 100 action points, 4.5 channel. Generate 20 Righteous Fury every 0.5 seconds. Okay, we know that one. And Martyrd's Blessings, the Cirque Busting ability is exactly the same. So Anvil has a lot of more passive purity going around. And it's more ranged. But I have a question for Ramasee, since he is here and he's one of the devs. So if if you have a group of, let's say, let's take this a little bit racially for a second. So if we have a group of dwarfs, right, fighting a group of chaos, dwarfs don't really have any way of removing corruption, can they? They need to have an empire guy. I find this interesting because pretty much chaos doesn't have a way of removing corruption either. It's only the warrior priest so far, from my memory, can remove them through purity. So this is interesting. You have to have mixed groups. I mean, like on Age of Reckoning, like every dwarf ability buffs every other dwarf, right? They're complementary and stuff like that. And they always have a counter for things. But on this, if you're gonna fight chaos and you want to be effective, you gotta have something from Empire to remove corruption through purity. And Empire needs to have in the group, can I say, one Rune Priest. It's the only class I remember that can augment things. Because so far I haven't seen any Empire characters, the Bright Wizard, the Knight, or the Witch Hunter, that can augment abilities. But I remember Rune Priest can have the augment mechanism. So Rune Priest will augment Warrior Priests. Warrior Priests will remove corruption from the dwarves. All right, and we have to see what the elves are going to be doing. It's interesting. You have to mix a lot if you're going to fight a mixed enemy. Because it looks like, they're really mats, like a full Empire warband, right? Because now Witch Hunters actually do have AoE, can fight a Chaos one. Actually, it's the only one that can fight racially because it's the only one that can remove corruption. And it's kind of like the same here. Only this race, dwarves, can fight greenskins effectively, and these guys. If it's a mixed, you need the correct mix, which going to make warband play, actually warband composition, a lot more important. Like you can go out there and you see what somebody runs on the warband. Let's say they don't run any chaos. I don't know. It's a greenskin, dark elf kind of thing, right? You can kind of skip, if you want, Empire and just focus on more other classes. So the composition is going to be weird. I'm talking about organized stuff. I think it's going to be like that. Same way it was before. If you were having a lot of choppers, you got a lot of Bright Wizards, try and burn them before they get close. If you had a lot of Slayers, you needed, more focused tanks for the punts and this and that and the slows. Composition makes the other warband. So we're in for a hell of a trip with this so far. Right, so we have one more hard specializations to do for the Warrior Priest to finish this, and that is Cleansing Flame. That is the DPS. So Shield Mechanic is still there, Shields of Faith, Judgment. Most players will just be super mixed in general. Very few people overall do racial groups warbands, but yes, there is intentional benefits to detriments to doing so. Yeah, I know. I'm just noticing how things work, but yeah, most of the warbands are mixed anyways. But it's nice because the game is based, elf versus dark elves, empire versus chaos, and dwarves versus greenskin. So you could do racial warbands and just fight your arch enemy and then mix for everything else everyday gameplay. Because we do have some guilds that like to fight and also do the roleplay, right? So truly now a dwarven warband can fight the greenskin and they won't have any disadvantages not having, I don't know, warrior priest or an archmage for the instant res or whatever. They can have that lore in roleplay gameplay without the need of something else because of gameplay mechanics. It's okay if dwarves lose to chaos, but dwarves should never lose to greenskins. Sorry, just as personal favorites here. Anyways, let's see the Cleansing Flame a little bit. So Judgment is the same, Wrath, 21 melee attack power, 280 impact damage to target enemy, generates 25 Righteous Fury, Soulfire, off the global cooldown, that's a new one. Toggled. While active, all your abilities will be augmented. You lose 30 Righteous Fury per second, and this effect ends if you run out. Okay, so you gotta be careful. Charge. Radiance. We've seen Radiance before. deals 19% melee attack power, 250 impact damage to target enemy, and the defensive target gains 1 stack of enhanced block if they are within 75 and generates 30 Righteous Fury. Silence. Prayer of Righteousness, it's the Shield of Purity and enchantment for 60 seconds. Causes them to deal 10% spell attack power and 115 spiritual damage each time they deal direct damage. That is for the group mates. Vigilance, you're detoned, but you also lose 90% of your attack power, of your damage output. Absorb for yourself, increase healing. If you use an ability, you will generate 10 more. If you get hit, you generate 10 more Righteous Fury. And Cleansing Flame uses 200, I'm going to say Warhammers, but hammers. It gets the basic morals for DPS, Serve Nerve, Broad Swings, Force of Will, and Frenzy Slaughter. Moral 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next line is the stats. And the first new skill is Deny the Heretics. Passive, 5 ranks on it. Whenever enemies attack allies with your Shield of Faith, you will deal 4% melee attack power and 40 impact damage to them. And I suppose that's something we're going to max out to do 20% of our melee attack power and 200 impact damage to the enemies. Then we'll also get the Fleet Footed, which is increased speed, reduced mass. More stats here. Smite. No cooldown, 1.5 second cast time, 75 action points. Castable while moving. Deal 13% spell attack power, 187 spiritual damage to up to 9 enemies within 30 feet in front of you. If it's augmented, you deal 25% damage more. And if you do get this one, you open up a tactic, Unwavering Faith. Smite and Absence of Faith now hit up to 24 enemies, so we get the AoE aspect. Leading the Prayer, it's the augmented version of the shield, Moral 1. Sigmard's Comet. Off the global cooldown, 30 Righteous Fury. 5-second cripple to target enemy. At the end of the duration, you deal 25% spell attack power, 346 impact damage to target enemy, and apply 2 stacks of Purity. This ability has 2 charges and generates 1 charge every 8 seconds. If it's augmented, applies to 2 other enemies within 20 feet of primary target. Oh, and this opened up 2 things. One is Divine Fury. Sigmar Comet now has up to 3 charges, and this one has 3 upgrades, so you can get higher ones, I suppose 5. Also open up the tactic. Sigmar's Comet applies marked to the target. Marked enemies take 50% more damage. Sanctity prayers now apply to all group mates within 150 by the last 15 seconds. Improve vigilance. Vigilance now reduces outgoing damage by 75, but I'm not going to put any points in this. I don't see any point in that. Unfair advantage. Whenever you hit an enemy that you're flanking, oh, we get that one. You get a buff for 2 seconds and your damage is increased for 100% of your accuracy. That's a nice tactic for a DPS to have. Next line, we get Heart of Griffon. Passive. You have 15% chance whenever you use any ability to apply Shield of Faith on yourself. Ooh, 30%. Nice. Smash. Smash, smash, smash. This is the knockdown. Extra crit is a DPS, so you can increase your critical hit by 10%. Leading the charge. Divine Assault, Radiance, Word of Damnation will apply their effects to you in addition to defensive target. Okay, Righteous Wrath. Generate more Righteous Fury, so you can max that out. Again, Morale 3, that gives you the 250 Ballistics, Intelligence, and Strength stats for 20 seconds. Not Morale. Break Loose, moving skills you use will now remove Snared and Rooted from you. Absence of Faith. Soulfire will now deal 3% melee attack power and 61 spiritual damage every 2 seconds, up to 9 enemies within 30 feet of you. Soulfire, which is here, it's a toggled ability. But 30 Righteous Fury per second. So I suppose that lasts, what, 3 seconds maxed out? Word of Damnation. Costs 25 Righteous Fury. Dispels 1 enchantment from target enemy. Applies 1 stack of Enhanced Sagacity to your defensive target. And also will unlock you Purge, the tactic. Word of Damnation now cleanses a blessing from target enemy and deals 10% spell attack power and 190 spirit damage. So you can either choose to cleanse an enchantment or a blessing. You can switch that and deal damage. So one version removes enchantment, and your defensive target gets the enhanced sagacity. So you remove. Oh, you get both with the tactic? Oh, it doesn't replace it. I thought you, because you use the tactic, you switch the enchantment for the blessing. Ah, okay, you get both. Okay, and the damage. Okay. Sorry, I thought it just replaces it. Okay, thank you for the clarification there. Avatar of Sigmar, we've seen it. Hammer of Sigmar, that's new. 60 Righteous Fury. Deals 44% melee attack power, 590 impact damage to target enemy. If used on an enemy under 40% health, you will generate 60 Righteous Fury. If it's augmented, ability has no cooldown. And Whirlwind is the same Zerg Blasting ability we've seen on the Witch Hunter, where you deal 6% melee attack power plus 20 piercing damage to up to 96 enemies within 30 feet of you every 0.5 seconds. Each enemy hit will give you a stack of a buff that increases your damage, your outgoing damage by 10%, and it stacks up to 100 times. Which is very nice. This one is very nice. I mean, it's a 3-second channel. You gotta be 30 feet from the enemies. You gotta really jump in a Zerg to use this, but it's very powerful. And if I read the tooltip correctly, it's not affected by cover. So you don't give a shit if there's a tank holding the line, or you just go in there and you kick ass, which is nice. So, because most of the Zerg Blasting abilities we've seen before, most of them, they are affected by cover. But it's nice to see that there's some of them that are not, so you can get in there and help. So that concludes Empire as well. So